this big battle right now is pretty crazy considering you'd think it'd be like some elite force special like bad guy group against like the whole Yozakura family household, but it's just their dad. But logically so, with him having the whole like what is it? Is it 1,000 or 10,000? I think it's 10,000 blooming. Was it profuse blooming of 10,000 flowers? I think is exactly what it's called. Something along those lines. But it's they explain it. It's like the like regular blooming kind of like gives way to whatever your ability is, because like this I don't know how to pronounce it. Samanim is pretty much how I've always just assumed it's pronounced. It like awakens your cells. It just pretty much like in like an idea, it almost gives you like mutant powers. It temporarily like turns you almost into essentially like a mutant. It just gives you an ability set to you for that time period. And with with it, they're like showing like you know, you're pretty much converting the power out of your body into the energy. Whereas the whole 10,000 blooming, you're pretty much buffing your whole body. When you have the blood of Tsubomi, it pretty much just turns your cells instead into raw summoning energy. And like it's what exactly was energy called? Let me go to the chapter real quick before I end up speaking and saying something I completely didn't intend to. Let me see. They're explaining the total 10,000 thing. I'm guessing that, like, I assume that some of the Yozakura people are gonna end up getting the total 10,000 blooming at some point. Maybe I think probably just Kyochiro. That just makes sense to me for him to be the one to kind of like reach that upper threshold, considering he's, you know, a big deal. He's like one of the strongest people in the known series. Because I understand that. But outside of them, I don't know. I can see maybe Futaba, but I'm like, I don't really know how I'd feel if like more people got it, considering of how it's not just a higher level of power. It's like it like it has an aspect of lore to it. Like, you know, obviously connecting to Tsubomi, because they're explaining how only people who kind of like have a like tie to her that way, like can see and talk to her, like one of the versions of her, are the only people that can actually control the whole 10,000 blooming. And they revealed that Momo is like, he's pretty much a clone, an altered clone of Tsubomi, so he's working with her for like crazy plots and stuff. But that's the reason why he's also so much more powerful, on top of like his experience and his age, and already having the whole Yozakura blood buff going on with his blooming. I'm guessing because there's a part in the chapter where, like, just like trying to figure out what his power is, where he's energy. It's not like he, like, at least from what I can tell, at least what I can figure out, he is essentially becoming the raw energy of the, like, of the whole blooming powers. And then, like, with his ability, I'm guessing something to do with, like, wind or his gun, because him having, moreover, wind, and then very obviously Taiyo's gun and like electricity and stuff, lightning. I'm guessing that once he ends up like mastering his 10,000 blooming, maybe he can move like this, but as lightning. I think it'd be really cool, because he's logically one of the only people that can achieve this super form within the series. But as they're pretty much going over everything, just giving some general like information on the chapters. Oh yeah, they just said it's crystallized summon, like high energy. I was like, did they introduce another word? Like they explained another part. I couldn't remember, and I didn't want to mess it up. But Kawashita is like explaining like essentially at a completely cellular level, he is summoning him right now. He is like completely turned into this energy, and he's gonna end up like letting Taiyo absorb him and gain the ability, like with them combined, to control Tsubomi. So I'm guessing like the way that it's gonna work, and I don't mean like they're gonna combine, like they're gonna fuse into a whole new being. Like it's either Taiyo is gonna just get all that power and then, you know, is able to do it, or while he's like after fusing, or at least absorbing him, or rather I should say, it'll be kind of like a whole thing where he's just able to kind of see Kawashita too. Like Kawashita's consciousness is there. Maybe he'll be able to like be in the manga again, but only visible from Taiyo or something like that. But Momo even is like explaining, like, you know, he senses an absorption. He knows what's going on there, and then we almost get Kyochiro's blooming. I'm pretty sure I saw a lot of people mention that just because of the glowing eye. He's got his barely open eye behind one of his gloves. I want to see exactly what this dude is going to be capable of when he actually uses his power. And it's a really cool panel with him. And I mentioned on Twitter, actually, I'm liking where his character is at, and I'm enjoying, like, you know, the way that it's kind of turning as he's gaining some development towards Taiyo and stuff, but also it's making his, like, badass scenes where it's, like, showing how powerful he is. For at least me, it makes it much more like enjoyable, because it's like I've always known he's powerful, obviously, since like this whole introduction to the series, but I used to not like him, and like he's getting better on me, so I'm happy to see the different kind of like sway and vibe that it gives off, like, getting to this chapter. But that's one moment just decides to bring out his gun, and they even mention it because he goes and shoots and he makes this giant gust of wind. When they even say, like, oh, it's an explosion, like, no, it's pretty much just an absurd gust of wind, and it's like blowing all of them back. And my guess, because you see the gust of wind, and then he's suddenly back with Taiyo, like, right in front of him. So I'm guessing that when he was, like, making that wind blast, maybe he was, like, scattering and kind of, like, traveling along it with, like, the pedals. But now Taiyo is getting, like, the power more under control, and he's going to end up fighting Momo, I would assume, in the next chapter. Where there's a really nice kind of end for Kawashita, as he's, like, remembering back to everything, and it's like that scene where he first met Tsubomi, but he is just, like, seeing her, and she's, like, you know, saying, like, okay, you know, you did really good, rest well, and then it gives him his, like, obituary. So it's weird because, like, this is pretty much 2 chapter reviews, because I got way behind on last week's stuff, so I figured I'd just do 2 chapters this week. And like not Kawashita, I was gonna say something about Kiroshiro, but like Kawashita, like, having like a really interesting moment in this, like a pretty sad kind of out. I figured he was gonna be the big bad guy of the series, but it looks like it's either gonna be Momo or Tsubomi. I don't really know who else could fit the role, especially with like him having, at least from what we're aware, like the strongest power in the whole series, the whole 10,000 blooming. Like nobody else except for Taiyo has that, and the Yozakuras are already known for being, you know, like top tier bloodline. The only people I could really see even being up there in strength are like when we get to like world class spy ranking, when we get to people that are like way stronger than Kyochiro, but like just from age and experience kind of thing. Or maybe we'll get some like kind of James Bondish spy who it's like, oh, he's been in the game for 30 years. I don't know, something like that. It's just gonna be a little bit of a wait. It was a solid chapter. Like I didn't have a ton to say about it because a lot of it was action. It was action and then like information on like Samanim and the powers and stuff. But it was the Kawashita stuff that was kind of more of like the sad content of the chapter, something to kind of like really talk about. But it was more for like how he's gonna tie to Taiyo potentially, because like we already knew all this stuff about like him from his backstory, his flashbacks, and when he was the big bad of the previous arc. But it's just gonna be a short bit of a wait until the next chapter, and then we can really see where this is going. But it looks like Momo is I'm guessing he's gonna leave. I'm guessing he's gonna kind of just like bounce out. He's already stopped fighting, his children, and I don't know, unless the next chapter starts out with Hirochiro's blooming, I don't really think we're gonna see it anytime soon. It looks like it was just a tease thing, because like we've seen all the other ones, and it's very clear the manga is like saving Hirochiro's for like probably like a big battle or a big scene. The problem is, like, he's so powerful right now, until we, like, get some actually, like, really big deal characters showing up, I don't really see anybody having a fight with him. Because I would assume the first time we see it, it's going to be like the other, the members of the family, where it's, like, it's not like, tooth and nail battle. It's, like, I'm getting pushed to where I have to use my power, and it's more like I have to flex on you kind of fight, right? More than, like, a straight one-for-one kind of battle. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend, like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.